The Daily Stoic, on the topic of clarity, January 24th. Push for deep understanding. From Rusticus. I learned to read carefully, and not to be satisfied with a rough understanding of the whole, and not to agree too quickly with those who have a lot to say about something. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, 1.7.3. The first book of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations begins with a catalogue of gratitude. He thanks, one by one, the leading influences in his life. One of the people he thanks is Quintus Junius Rusticus, a teacher who developed in his student a love of deep clarity and understanding, a desire to not just stop at the surface when it comes to learning. It was also from Rusticus that Marcus was introduced to Epictetus. In fact, Rusticus loaned Marcus his personal copy of Epictetus's lectures. Marcus clearly wasn't satisfied with just getting the gist of those lectures, and didn't simply accept them on his teacher's recommendation. Paul Johnson once joked with Edmund Wilson to read books as though the author was on trial for his life. That's how Marcus read Epictetus, and when the lessons passed muster, he absorbed them. They became part of his DNA as a human being. He quoted them at length over the course of his life, finding real clarity and strength in words, even amid the immense luxury and power he would come to possess. That's the kind of deep reading and study we need to cultivate as well, which is why we're reading just one page a day instead of a chapter at a time, so we can take the time to read attentively and deeply. There is a reason it feels good to hold a physical book. Second only to speaking to someone, it is one of the oldest ways to share information. The written word allows you to know what a person thinks without having to be physically in a room with them. I know this seems rudimentary, however the fact that we've had this as a species for thousands of years is rather fascinating. Not only that, in the modern age, many people seem to forget this skill, the ability to read from a book. Even more so, they forget the purpose of reading, to understand what the person has to say, not just to absorb the words on the page. Don't let this become you. When you read to understand what the person has to say, not just to skim past the words and barely acknowledge them. As the person who wrote it put the words down for a reason. They want you to know something. I'd like to thank you for listening to today's reading. I'll see you tomorrow.